All right, so we are going to get started. Thank you for being my sound checkers and testing with me. We are going to jump right in. For those of you who don't know me, I'm so glad many of you have been coming back for our webinars and our group coaching. And for those of you who are new, welcome. This is a really fun, exciting group. I hope that you'll find the same. My name is Ariel. I run Groove Anywhere. I help build your outer strength and your inner calm. And today we are going to be talking about how that outer strength and inner calm can feel very susceptible and vulnerable during our holidays. So I'm going to share my screen. So bear with me. Let's play from the start. Great. You're all still with me? I hope. And let me make sure I keep our chat open in case any of you have questions throughout our session. Okay, hold on. I just have one technical problem I need to get rid of. Okay, here we go. So we are going to talk today about how you feel during the holidays, which I know can be very triggering for many. And we are going to really focus in on how to eat, move, and meditate to be the most fabulous you can. We're also going to try something new this time because I know some of you join on your own from your own desktop and some of you join in the room. Thanks to Cheryl for hosting that. But I'd like for all of us to have an opportunity to really interact and make sure I'm getting your feedback. So we're going to try something new this time. Usually I tell you to shut off your phones, but this time I'd actually like you to take out your phone, okay? So go on your phone and go to your internet browser and type in slido.com, S-L-I-D-O.com. When you get there, you should be prompted to enter a code. It's not case sensitive. I simply need you to enter BC for Brown and Crouppen, of course, and Groove, because we are partners in this. So when you get there, you should see a prompt for a code. And then once you're in there, hopefully this is working, we're going to answer a simple question to make sure it's working for you. So if it's working, you should have a question that is coming up on your phone. What superpower would you like to have? When you see that question, we're going to try to test this out. I already have superpowers. Okay, it's working for someone. I love it. Go ahead and enter your response. And what's really cool with this tool is that you can enter your decision, but it's anonymous. So it's a nice way for you to decide when you want to share your identity and not. And it's also really cool because we can also see how many people agree with us and how many people have a different point of view, which could be really helpful in our discussion today. Teleporting. That would be pretty cool, especially when you have snow on the ground, right? Any other, we're getting more for teleporting. Wow, all right, and I'm going to tell you, I have you asked this question once before, and that seems to be the most popular answer, even over flying, which I find fascinating. Ooh, we got a mind reading in the mix. Anyone else? Anyone else? I love a lot of us do have superpowers already. All right, we're going to take 5 more seconds. Enter your answers. Hopefully you got in with BC Groove and you see the question on your screen. 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. So I hope that's kind of fun. We're going to ask a few questions today using this tool because I thought it's a really cool way for you to have your voice even when you're in the room all together. Okay, so how do you know if you decided to join this webinar, if it was the right decision for you today? Well, I think it's great that you're all here. But here, the topics we're going to talk about are really going to address these specific issues. If you feel overwhelmed by this holiday season, and one thing I want to make sure I note from the start, it doesn't really matter what you celebrate. This is not about a religion. This is not about anything you practice or don't, but we are all living in this culture and society where there's a lot of forces coming at us, right? We go into stores and we hear the music. We have chatter around us. There's different, and we're going to get into what, all the different parties and activities around us. So even if you don't celebrate any holidays or you celebrate every holiday, there's still an impact that it could have on you personally. You fall off your routine when your family comes to town, right? Does anybody find that people, something out of your routine will just turn everything upside down? You feel stressed or tired or bloated. And by the time New Year's comes, it's like, oh, I'm so done, right? How do we make that better? Well, let's look at what happens during the holiday season. We know that there are so many parties. It's such a festive time, right? And I've actually looked at some studies, and we've seen that across our country, 65% of us will attend a family party. Almost a third will go to some holiday parties at our friend's house. And I'm sure many of you are having office parties where you are now. So it's very active and festive time of the year. And it's so much shopping, right? I love the statistics. 164 million consumers will shop next weekend. That's a lot of people, a lot of shopping, right? And I'm going to ask you if you know the answer to this question, because I thought this was really interesting. According to AAA, how many Americans will travel this Thanksgiving? So I want you to take a guess of how many of us are going to be in cars and trains and planes and, automobiles going everywhere under the sun. And Thanksgiving, as they define, is from Wednesday through Sunday. Oh, we got 100% of the people. Oh, no, it's changing. It's changing. All right, put in your answers because we got a 50-50 split. We need our answers. Okay, ready? 5, 4, 3. Ooh, answers are changing. 2. Okay, so I will tell you the answer. You may be shocked. You guys are really smart. It is over 54 million people. Think about that. Are traveling. What happens to us when we travel, right? Talk about routines turning upside down. So it's pretty amazing how many people will be out there and active this holiday season. So you would think with all this parties and shopping and traveling, we would all be happy, right? We'd be in our best state of mind. Well, some of us are, but a lot of us find it to be just overwhelming, right? And you may find this yourself or somebody that you care about actually gets to the other extreme and struggles with a lot of stress and even depression through this holiday period. So, when you think about all the shopping that we're doing and the cooking and the cleaning and preparing, that turns into other stresses with overworking, trying to get everything done before you have some vacation time, overeating, overstressing. It just gets to be too much. And I thought this was really funny. If you can't see it, it says, if my relatives wanted me to be truly thankful, they do all the cooking, right? Just take this off my hands, and free me a bit, because it gets to be just way too much. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to kind of think for a moment. I want you to pause. You can even close your eyes. And when we talk about all the things that are coming this holiday season, whether it's cooking for a big family, maybe you've had a loss in your family, how you feel about your body, your finances, cooking, relationships, how you are with your sleep. I want you to think about what are the top 2 causes that are making you unsettled. And you can simply type them in from any of those words you just saw, whether it was my body, cooking, family, children, my spouse, my lack of partner. Just go ahead and type in right there on your phone whatever thought comes up for you. Schedule, money. Yes, and how do you feel about what is that money responsible for? Why is that such a trigger? Is it gift giving? And how do you feel about cooking, your body, your food, exercising, not exercising? Are there other unsettled feelings? Money and food, schedule, family, office, Halloween, Halloween candy? Is that still around your home? Yes, food and family, cooking, body. Yeah, how do you feel about your body? The gym, eating, routine. It's difficult. Yeah, yeah. So isn't it interesting? And those words are bigger for a reason. They're bigger in size because more of you are saying the same thing. So I hope that gives you a reminder that how you're feeling is special for you, but it's not unique when we look at how many of us struggle with the same concerns. Really interesting what comes up, right? Why does this happen? Why do we get so triggered? Well, I thought this was a really interesting perspective. You know, when we think about the holidays, it's sort of this picture on your left-hand side. If you think about the Great Wall of China, right? It's beautiful and miraculous. It's a wonder of the world. And how cool would it be to explore and find something new and interesting, right? And then the reality of it is that all those things are still true, and it's crowded, and you may be hot and your feet hurt, and there's people elbowing you side to side, right? And what happens many times is that when holidays come or any of these big activities happen, we think of it's either going to be fabulous, or we think that everyone else's holiday is going to be fabulous and wonderful, or we anticipate that it's going to be terrible, right? There's going to be arguments and family fighting, and how am I going to not eat all those things and pick all the food in the kitchen while I'm making it? And either way, there's this expectation. And when expectations happen, it does something that's really important for us to pay attention to. It takes us away from our reality, right? So we're no longer in the moment of what's happening. We're in our minds comparing what's happening to what we think should happen, right? And sometimes when we have such a high expectation of something, we lose what's in front of us. And if it's a negative expectation, we can almost make that happen, right? It's that self-fulfilling prophecy of, I think people are going to be arguing, and you almost create a situation that makes it harder. So pay attention to what expectations you have coming up for the next few months. So what happens as the result of all of these expectations and disappointments and angst and anxieties that we have? We get to a point where we just can't hold it all together anymore. And we're like, you know what, whatever. I'm just going to eat whatever. I'm not going to worry about how I'm moving. I'm just going to fix it next year, right? And there's a perfect opportunity. We are set up in our culture to do this, to say, let's not worry about it. Let's put it on a list of resolutions in January, and we'll worry about it then, right? Does that sound familiar? So we see this cycle every year, these big promises, and by the time we have an opportunity to really implement self-care practices, we don't have the tools to do it, so it all falls apart, and we're left feeling just completely defeated. Well, I'm going to suggest that there may be another way for this to play out. So I want you to imagine what it could be like if your holidays made you feel this way, if they were fun and you felt restful, if there was an ease to things, like a flow, and then you had that flow and it left room for spontaneity. You could actually feel serene in your kitchen. Could you imagine? Or shopping. You could feel happiness, or you could feel and be in touch with how you feel instead of being clouded by expectations. How cool could that be? Well, it's possible. We have to be open to a new way of learning, a new way of being. It's so easy for us to get tired and overwhelmed. And I know when I'm tired, I am so vulnerable to whatever's around me. So how do we take care of ourselves enough so we're prepared for a new way of behaving? And that's what we're here to learn, how to know and plan your food before you're in a situation that feels overwhelming. How to take the care to move and why it's so important to move, and how to prepare to power down. So these are the things we're going to talk about here and what we'll be sharing in our group coaching sessions. More on that in a bit. Okay, so eating. I know this is a big topic for many of us. And if you are, one thing I want to mention is if you have questions while you're in this, you can go, you'll see questions on your phone as another tab. You can go ahead and type your questions and we will get to them at the end. But I don't want you to lose them. Eating is something that has come up a lot. We've got a lot of questions about them. I think people are always so confused of how do I do this when it's the the biggest food days of the year, right? Between the actual meals and then the leftovers and what people bring in the office and over your home. And there's expectations of, well, families have this favorite pie I make every year, right? And how do you manage and navigate that in ways that still feel serving to you? Well, there's a few ways to do this. The first is to really pay attention and to recognize, what are your triggers? Are there those people that, Aunt Sally, who always wants you to, be part of that apple pie? Are there certain places? We all have those, family members. We go to their homes and you either love football or you hate it, and you're either trapped in the kitchen or you're at the table. Or what are those things that just make you feel prompted to eat something outside of the act of nourishment? So we're going to learn to control what we can and let go of what we can't, because there's many things we can't control. And then when we do have food, I'm a big believer that there's no wrong food or bad food. And if you do decide to have something, that you truly savor every bite. Like, you slow down and close your eyes and you taste the food you're eating instead of having it so quickly that you missed it, right? There's all that stress and anticipation, and then we rush it so that by the time we're done, we're full, but yet we feel empty, if that makes sense. And when we do this, when we act in a way with our food that feels respectful and nourishing and savoring and enjoying it, we get to remember, what's the point of all these holidays anyway? What's the point of all these celebrations, right? We're here to celebrate ourselves, our freedoms, and our other people around us. If we're so caught up in the conversation in our mind and the obsessions about it, we completely miss all of it. Okay, then we need to move. So we need to literally plan to act, to move our bodies. And that is so critical. And when we say a plan of action, that action can look very different for each one of us. If you've heard any of my conversations before, and if you've been part of our groups, when we say movement can be a wide range of, a wide spectrum of things that you can do. From walking to running, to stretching, to yoga moves, to weightlifting, strength training. I mean, we have such a wide variety of, I know you guys are in a walking challenge now, right? And putting in your steps. You can also come to grooveanywhere.com and get 2-minute videos to help you exercise, up to 40-minute videos to help you move. So it's less about what you do, and it's more about that willingness to take action for yourself. And that's really important, because when you're caught up in that stress of all of that stuff going on, sometimes the best thing to do is not to try to change the dynamic of whatever conversations your family are going on, or to try to change pain that you're not just going to get rid of in a minute, or all the anticipation of people coming to the house and it's not clean yet. Sometimes the best thing is to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and get out of that environment. Put on your workout clothes. Get outside, breathe some fresh air, look at the sky, get out of that. And what that does, it's so miraculous, right? This is why I love movement, is that the more you move, you get more in touch with yourself. And you start to open up this space for your own intuitive thoughts, and anxieties start to just melt off your body. I'm not saying that things will just be completely happy, joyous, as soon as you're done. But you really set yourself up for a completely different dynamic when you start taking care of yourself and you move on a physical level. You get your body going, your heart racing, your sweat glands are working hard, right? And it puts you in that energized, energetic mode where it's no longer the overwhelm or the exhaustion. It's okay, I remember who I am. I remember I can do this. You kind of get in touch with that badass self of yours. Now, not every situation is going to work, right? So some of us will be in holiday situations with snow all around us, and maybe you can't get outside and you have like 1 square foot, right? Others are going to be somewhere else, maybe in the tropics in the sunshine. You may have a baby in the house and you can't be loud. Whatever the situation is, we need to have a portfolio of moves that you can do no matter where you are, no matter what circumstances, what clothes you have or don't. What if you forgot your sneakers, right? If you don't have the space, and you can still you never have to worry, well, if I don't have this, I can't do that. There's always something we can do. And that's also why I want to show you how to look for the opportunities. So this is not about I'm being forced to do this, I have to do this, I should do this. This is I care about myself and I want to look for where can I do something? What can I do? And then we let go of all the perfection, right? Because that mind of ours, and I know all of you type A hungry personalities want it to be just so, but we let go of that and we accept the imperfection and we find joy in that. Okay, you know I get excited about movement. And the third plan we need to have, because we have the eating and the movement, is how do we find and really practice that self-care? And a lot of that is, like I said, if we're not clouded by too much food or too little food, if we have movement, it opens ourselves up to finding that space inside of us that can really allow for some intuitive thought, right? And the only way to tap into it is to listen. So when we can come back to our center, when we get away from the overwhelm and the arguments, and we can learn how to practice this meditation. Now, I don't want to overwhelm you with this thought of meditating if that feels scary, because I know for many of us, the idea of meditation has this connotation of we must be quiet and we must sit still and not move. So if I have an itch on my nose, I can't scratch it, right? And we can't do anything and we're too high strung to do that. But there's lots of ways that we can practice meditation. So even when you're moving fast, the same thing happens. If any of you play soccer or basketball or you run or you swim, when your body is moving, what happens is that we are so focused on that next action in front of us, we can't let other thoughts distract us. So we're actually very focused. And it's you may find this, that when you're so focused there, even in the shower, all of a sudden these ideas come, right? And that's happening because our minds are getting quiet and focusing on one thing. And then we're leaving ourselves open to be in touch with our intuition. So let go a little bit of your definition of meditation, because there's lots of different ways to get there. And there's no wrong way. You know, the only wrong way is to not do anything. So as long as we're practicing and learning how to find some of our own inner peace, we're doing everything right. And that's really important when there's chaos going on around you. And we're going to talk a lot over the next couple of weeks of how to find that moment of calm when there is a lot of chaos. And it doesn't have to be, and it can't be perfect, right? You're not going to suddenly kick everybody out of your house so you can have a whole room of Zen. That may not be practical, but there definitely are ways that we can get there. And then what's really cool is that when you do all these things, you now can set new traditions, right? It doesn't always have to be, we're going to sit for 3 hours and have, 3 hours of a dessert table. Love desserts. There's also other things you can do. You know what? Family, why don't we go out for a cool walk for 20 minutes? Or, you know what I would love if people are saying, what do you want for the holidays? I would love time with you, and maybe offer that. Would you like me to take time to do something with you and really listen to somebody? We're so quick to say, what can I buy? What can I order online? But some people, I think what we lack at times is somebody to really listen to us. So I think the more we start taking care of ourselves, especially in this time of the year, it allows us to be open to other people and to give, not material things, but to give of yourself and to truly be of service. And how fun would that be if you just get outside and you take a few minutes to do something different, or you play games together, something where you can laugh and be in the moment with each other. And it can totally shift, instead of trying to change the dynamic of too much food and too much stress, and just do something different, and there's a lot to be said for that. And once that happens, you can be in touch with who you are. You don't have to put on this front of, I have to be the perfect host, or I have to go and I'm going to have to eat whatever they have there. I have to shop and make sure that I fit in all the right dresses. All that noise in the head gets to go away, and you get to be your authentic self. You get to be you. And when you learn at this time of the year and any time of the year how to be there for yourself, then you can be your true self and you can be there for other people, you know, and that's the real magic of this. That's the joy, is that you get to let go of all that stuff and overwhelm, whether it's about money or food or family or your body, you know, and just know that you're okay and there's nothing wrong with you, and to truly be in the magic of who you are. So how do we do this? Well, we are going to do this together. So over the coming weeks, we are opening up, again, our Groove Anywhere BNC Facebook group. It's a private group that you can join right now. We're going to open it up again, and you will have guidance and support every step of the way to do this. Every week, we're going to focus on an area to truly give you the support you need to make all the changes so that you can have the holidays you want, feeling your true self, being there for your family, being part of the celebration, and focusing less, because you have a plan, on the food, less on the movement, less on all of that because you know what to do, and more on being in your moment. So if you're ready to find a different way to be so that you don't even need to have a New Year's resolution, I really encourage you to join our Facebook group. We will be sending out the link as well. And if you've been in it before, jump back in. We've already put a post, a welcome post, where you can come in and say hello. Okay, I hope this has been helpful, but what I really want now, and where I really wanted to leave the time today, was for you to ask the questions. So if you go onto, bear with me, your phone, go to your questions, and you can ask any questions you'd like, and we can post them for all of us to see. Now remember, you can choose to enter your name or not, so you don't need to feel like, you know, if you want to be anonymous about something, you absolutely can. But if you have questions about the group or about the holidays, or anything else in between, I encourage you to jot them here so we can share them together. Or maybe I answered every question for you. I think we're good. Okay. Well, we're gonna keep this open for a bit. So if something comes up that you'd like us to focus on as well, please chat them in your questions. You should have a field on your phone so that we can, you know, we can just address what you're most curious about. All right, I'm going to jump back to our presentation, but when you can still ask your questions. If they come in, we will post them up there. And I'm also going to attempt to open up our chat again, which I will tell you sometimes is a little tricky when we have all this going on. All right. Okay, so in our chat also, I'm going to put the name of our Facebook group so that if you would like to, you can simply copy, paste, and go right to Facebook to, I can even actually put the link in here for you. Let's do that. So you have it / / / so if any of you are watching from your computers, you should be able to click on that link as well and try to make it super easy for you. If you're not already part of our group, go ahead and request to join so I can go in and preview, and then you can be part of our group. We're going to be, like I said, we're going to jump in with our first assignment today. When you come to the group, you'll see your very first assignment. And then we're going to be continuing checking in on Tuesday for your next, because many of us know, I think you know, Thanksgiving is next week, right? So this is the time that if you'd like to avoid having that Thanksgiving overwhelm or being in the house on snow days where if it causes any stress or concern, we're going to jump right in and give you the support that you need. Okay, you can go ahead and ask questions in the chat, or you can ask questions here. Okay, all right, so we have a question. We're gonna turn this on so I can share this with the group. Let's see if this works. Okay, What would be the healthiest Thanksgiving plate based on traditional choices? Excellent question. Okay, so there's two parts of this question that I want to make sure we're addressing, right? So when I hear the question about healthy choices, the two things that come to mind are the actual food, kind of the mechanics of the food itself, and the choices we're making. So the food itself, which I'm wondering if is kind of the basis of this question, is, you know, do we eat the turkey? Do I eat the stuffing? Do I have the pie? You know, all that good stuff. So my answer to you is, what would you enjoy eating? Right? So if you have all of these things on your plate, can you start with what I always love, and I'm a huge veggie person, start with your vegetables, put them on your plate, right? And then make that your centerpiece. And if you feel like wherever you're going this year, there won't be vegetables, guess what? Nobody will, if you say, could I bring a dish? No one's going to turn you down, right? So one of the things we're going to be talking in the group is how to plan for these situations and what you can do, right? So I always like to feel like I can plan enough, so I'm taking care of myself. And then when there's, you know, things that come up and I don't know what food I'm going to have, I already know kind of what I want, so I'm not caught off guard. But if you can bring a dish, even better. So I would start with your veggies on your plate and make them delicious, whether it's roasted cauliflower or broccoli and spinach and mushrooms, potatoes, asparagus. I mean, there's squashes. There's so many squashes this time of year, right? Spaghetti squash and eggcorn squash, and you can put cinnamon on them, and red peppers roasted. And I mean, there's like millions of veggies out there, and they're beautiful colors, right? So make it like gorgeous and put that as your centerpiece, and then put the things around it that you enjoy. If you eat turkey, put turkey. If there's I don't know, whatever your meat of choice is. If you don't eat meat and there's fish, put that. If you have beans or quinoa, if you're vegetarian, enjoy it. Stuffing, people give stuffing a really bad rap. If you enjoy stuffing, have some stuffing. If you'd like some mashed potatoes, you know, it takes a lot of work to have mashed potatoes, have some. So I would say put in what you want to fill that plate, and you feel like you're not depriving yourself and you're respecting yourself, right? So I don't think there's a bad food. But so that's sort of the mechanics. But the other part of this is ask yourself why you're eating something. Are you eating something because you want to enjoy it and it feels good? Or are you eating something because you want to avoid a situation or a feeling? You know, sometimes these holidays can bring up sadness for some, excitement, anxiety. And all I would say is, as much as you can pay attention to how much interaction does your food and your feelings have. Okay, so if you can really pull apart and say, I'm enjoying this food to enjoy this food versus I'm having this food because, you know, I can't handle this situation. That's where there's more of a concern for me. And I don't care what the food is. If it's carrots or cake, it doesn't matter. But when we're eating because of an emotion, that's a really good opportunity to say, you know what, give me 5 minutes and go for a walk around the block, make a phone call, you know, we'll talk about other tools so that you can come back to your center and eat from a place of nourishment and love for yourself instead of punishment for yourself. I hope that's helpful, but ask a follow-up question if it's not, because I want you to feel good about this. And these are exactly the topics we're going to be talking about. And you see that I didn't give you, you may be frustrated by this, but I didn't say to you, don't eat carbs, right? I didn't say cut out all your sugar. Because to me, I feel like you want to have a plan of action that's feasible and you can live in your life without going to extremes. And for each of us, there's no one answer. That's why I love our group coaching sessions that we do together, because it gives each of you an opportunity to be authentic to who you are and to learn from one another, because what works for one of us may not work at all for someone else. And that's why it's really nice to be in a group where we can do this together. So thank you for being brave enough to ask a question that I'm sure many people are wondering about themselves. Okay, we are going to open it again. Any other questions that we'd like to put on our board? All right, I'm going to watch out for those. I'm going to see if there's anything in our chat, so keep the questions coming. So we're going to go back to our chat to see if anybody else typed in here. All right, now. Do you guys all feel good? So here's what I want you to do then. On your questions, you can enter it here. How many of you, give me a yes if you plan to join our group. Just type in yes in your questions. Because I would love, the more we have, the more support we have. And I think, you know, a lot of you were part of our impact group earlier this year. And I hope one thing that, one thing that I think was really cool is that, look, yes, it's great. Oh, I love it. Is that, you know, I can give you, and I will give you all my love and support and experience and tools and guidance. But one of the greatest things that I see that you guys have really benefited from is learning from each other, right? And when you share your experience, I hope you start to feel like you're not alone in this, and there's other people who are going through the same exact thing that you're going through. You know, and that's really special, because I think sometimes what happens, look at all of our good responses. Yay, I love it. One of the things that happens when we're in the middle of our holiday, you know, sometimes it's fabulous, sometimes it's not, is it starts to feel like, oh my God, I'm the only one that is dealing with this. Nobody else had to change 3 times because they couldn't zip up the dress, right? Nobody else had to worry about kids running around all day and then was still supposed to have this perfectly clean house and all the clothes. Nobody else had to worry about finishing their work up until the 11th hour so I could actually make it home in time to be with my family and not have them be mad at me. Hold on, I'm drinking. You guys know I need to drink my water all day long, right? So what happens when you're in a group like this is that you start to literally see how we all struggle with so many of the same things. And what's really cool is that the more that you're taking care of yourself, you get to respond to somebody else in the group and show them not the answer, but you get to share your perspective. And there's something that's really magical and special that happens when you give service. You think it's about giving to that other person, but it fills you up, right? I mean, how many of you volunteer for anything? It fills you up when you get to be there for somebody else. Okay, you know I get excited about all these things. All right, well, I'm so glad we got all these yeses in here. I love it. Any last questions? Anything about our, any questions about the course, about starting? I hope you guys will jump over and, you know what? I'm gonna ask one more question. Can I do this here quick? Let's see if I can do this. Oh no, I can't. All right, but let me ask you this. So you put in your questions. Can you mark travel or home if you're gonna be away or not? I'm really curious if you guys are leaving the area or you'll be home for the most part from, you know, for our major holidays. Because I think that also makes a big difference if you're on your home turf or you're in somebody else's environment, you know, to the way that we act and respond and behave. It can make a big difference. So just let me know, just at home. All right, so we're gonna have some home. It makes a big difference, right? I mean, it still can be a little bit unsettling when you have a lot of people coming into your home, but there's fewer unknowns many times, right? So that could be, oh, we got more. Let's see, usually travel, but we'll be home this year. Well, that's good, right? And that's a different, well, I don't know if it's good or not. I guess it depends how that feels. Travel, away, okay. And that's something that, you know, we can certainly talk about as well, of how to travel. I remember years ago, years, I forget how old I am. I remember before I had all that plan of eating, you know, kind of crystallized, when I was first like out of college and I traveled a lot for work. And I remember being in an airport and I was standing in the, you know, like the food court, and none of my normal things, like, I'm like, I was just overwhelmed. And I remember calling a friend. It's like phoning a friend. What do I do? What do I do? And she kind of talked me off the ledge, which is why, you know, when I share these things with you, it's not because it's all perfect. It's because I understand. I completely understand. And, you know, I learned in that moment how important it is to have an idea before you go into an uncertain situation, and then how to flow and flex with what's there. And I learned, and this is what I've been teaching clients for a couple of decades now, is to look for what the things that you want, so that the things that may not serve you well are not calling to you, because you already know what to look for. So if you're going through airports or you're going to rest stops, I mean, these are very real situations, right? Those could be huge triggers before you even get into the door of your family and friends. So we're going to talk about that too, how to navigate that situation of food courts. And, you know, the only thing around you is a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts. I don't care what it is. There is always a way that you can find to make decisions that honor yourself, you know, and I know you get into the specifics and you may feel like, yeah, but what about, you know, my family all wants this and I need that and we're rushing and we have to go through a drive-through. I don't care what the situation is. I know that together we can find a plan for you that will make you feel at ease, so that before you even start driving, you know that you're going to be okay. Right? So I just want you to know that, because it's not just about the moment you're sitting down to a meal. It's all the things that even in advance of that, and not in an overwhelming way, but there is something about a little bit of planning goes a long way, right? And I know if you were in the Impact program, we talked a lot about planning, that when you fail to plan, you plan to fail, but you're going to be in great company. So this will be like a no-brainer for you. Okay. Any other questions coming in? It's like if we have any other questions coming in. I think we're good. But please don't hesitate. And if you find other questions that come up, you can certainly hop into our Facebook group and you can ask them there as well, of course, while we're running the course. And if other things are part of a trigger today, just I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, I don't see other questions, so I'm going to come back to you. I'm so proud I figured this tool out. I hope you guys found it fun. Did you like it? You can kind of write a yes or no in there. Oh, wait, I got a question. Hold on. Going back. Group starts Tuesday. Okay, so officially, yeah, but I know next week is Thanksgiving, so I'm kind of, you know, jumping in quickly. So if you go today, I'm going to be posting a question today for you to start contemplating, but then we'll officially, you know, kind of get the ball rolling Tuesday. But I'm giving you kind of pre-homework, if you will, because I know that I want you to feel really good for next week. And I know that we can only do so much by the time Wednesday night comes, which is our busiest travel day of the year, right? But can you start joining today? Will that work for you guys? I mean, it's Friday. It's only going to be one question, and I'm hoping you can answer it by Tuesday. You guys are smart cookies. Very cool. All right. Did you like this tool? I'd love your feedback if this is helpful or not. I know sometimes it's hard if you're all in the room and you don't really get to have your voice, and I wanted to make sure all of you had a way to share your thoughts and questions. Yes. Oh, good. Yes. Yay. All right, good. Well, then we can keep going. And thank you for being patient with me. I haven't really used this much before, but I really wanted to find a way that all of you could be part of the conversation. And like I said, you can always include your name, but you don't have to. This should feel like a very friendly, inclusive space, but I know sometimes, you know, we just want to get our thought out there and not necessarily share who we are. So I completely understand. All right. Any other questions? Are we good to go? Are you excited? Are you kind of pumped up to feel like, yeah, I'm going to feel awesome in my body and feel good with my family and feel happy with my food and feel energized with my movement? You're going to get this down. I mean, imagine how you're going to feel come January 1. You're like, resolution, I'm good. I'm feeling fabulous. All right, that's my hope and my intention for all of us, is to feel fabulous together. Wait, we got another one. Yes, this is very helpful. Thank you. Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad. This is why I want to be here for all of you. Chat survey tool is great. Perfect. Oh, I'm so glad. That is what we want to know. And we're going to flex and make it work. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I know sometimes it's also hard to think of all these things and thoughts and feelings coming up. So what I encourage you to do is, as soon as you're done here, go into Facebook and put in our BNC Groove Anywhere group. If you're part of it, like the post I just shared, say hello. And if you're not, then please request to join. It's super quick and easy. It's super fast. So it's designed to make this a really easy platform for you. So the link is right there. You can see Groove Anywhere, I had it backward, Groove Anywhere BNC group. If you're searching for it, it should come up. I don't think none of this is case sensitive. And then just hop in. It'll ask you to request to join, and then I can approve you, and we'll be ready to go. Ready to go. Okay. I'm just making sure we don't have any more questions. I know I feel like I'm learning to be my techie myself. So thank you guys for bearing with me. I appreciate that. We're gonna have some nice calming music for Friday. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a few minutes back on this beautiful day. Be wonderful to yourself. Just be really kind and patient and lovely to yourself. That's my request for you today. That's my question to you, is how you will really honor yourself from now until you go to bed at night. We are not thinking about days or weeks or months or any of it. Just from now until you go to sleep tonight, what is one thing that you can do to truly honor how awesome you are? One thing. And if you'd like to type it in, I would not discourage you at all. I think it's really nice to put your intentions out there so you can see how worthy you are. Whether it's going to bed 10 minutes earlier, or eating a fabulous meal, or going for a walk for 5 minutes, or sitting in a tub, reading a book, watching your favorite show. Like, what is something that will bring you joy and honor yourself? Okay, you got it? Do you have that one thing? And you can type it if you'd like, or you can keep it in your heart. But I just hope that that's kind of your approach for ending your day. Okay. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I cannot wait to see you in our private Facebook group. Okay, I'm here for you. You can also always email me at ariel@grooveanywhere.com, and we will get going from there. Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right, I'll talk to you soon.